I'm going to let you in on my top secret strategies regarding mobile surveillance. The first tip is to ensure that you blend in with the environment, and you know what? That is obviously easier said than done. The first big thing to keep in mind is to ensure you have a vehicle that blends in. Your surveillance vehicle should be just an ordinary vehicle, nothing too fancy, nothing noteworthy about it. Preferably, you want to have a surveillance vehicle that is more common where you live and work. For instance, here in Colorado, Subarus are quite common, especially in the mountains and the foothills. As well, pickup trucks, especially white pickups, are common out in the open country. But then there is my personal preference for a surveillance vehicle, and that is a soccer mom type of vehicle. When I talk about soccer mom vehicles, I am talking about SUVs, crossover SUVs, minivans, and that type of vehicle. Not only do these types of vehicles blend in well in most areas, they also provide a great deal of flexibility and comfort inside the vehicle while doing surveillance. Having the ability to jump into the back seat of your surveillance vehicle quickly helps you stay covert as well. It provides a lot of comfort when you have to switch over to long periods of stationary surveillance. You need to consider the color of your surveillance vehicle too. I have found that plain colors like gray or silver, white, tan, or something neutral is usually best. That means no red Ferraris or yellow Corvettes. My school of thought has always been that it is better for me to lose my subject than to get burned by my subject. Another school of thought I have is to ensure I am prepared for whatever comes my way regarding my business, and OREP Insurance can help you prepare for whatever comes your way in your PI business. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Regardless of the type of surveillance vehicle you have, your driving patterns while on mobile surveillance are something you need to keep in mind too, and make sure you are aware of those driving patterns you have. You need to ensure you follow the laws of the road and don't do foolish things that will attract attention to you by your subject or law enforcement. Speeding is almost a necessary evil in the surveillance world, but when you have to speed, do it with style, grace, and finesse, and never overdo it. In other words, don't be out there gunning it all the time like you are in a race for first place at the local speedway. These days, people notice crazy drivers who come flying up behind them in traffic, weaving in and out, and they also notice when they suddenly slow down and start going with the flow. If I lose them, I will often catch back up to them due to heavy traffic ahead of them, or I will find them at some shopping center or another location, or worst case scenario, when they return home. If I get burned, well, the day is over. As well, the entire investigation is over, and in most cases, I will not be getting that case back. And if you work insurance claim-related surveillance jobs, those recurring assignments really add up over time. Make sure you dress appropriately for surveillance too. You never know when or where you will have to go on foot surveillance. I have seen many surveillance investigators dress for comfort first and consider blending in last, if at all. And if you're dressed in shorts and a muscle shirt to make sure you stay cool on those hot summer days, then you have to follow your subject into some fancy restaurant or another business, you will stand out for sure. Don't get me wrong, you need to consider your safety and comfort, but those considerations should align with blending in and ensuring the integrity of the investigation. I always carry other clothing articles with me in my surveillance goodies box, like button-up shirts, polos, extra pants, hats, and other things to help me fit in with most scenarios that might come up. Now, when you are in hot pursuit out on mobile surveillance, you need to maintain a safe distance from your subject's vehicle. I know this is difficult to gauge many times. If you stay too far back, well, you risk losing your subject. You follow right behind them all the time, you are more likely to get noticed. Keeping a safe distance from the target's vehicle, though, allows you to maintain a buffer zone, which can reduce the risks of being detected. Using other lanes to help you keep that gap is a useful trick too, but again, you need to stay aware of what is coming up down the road. If you are in the far left lane and they suddenly exit or turn to the right, you are left with little to no options many times. If you have to make a sudden lane change to follow them, you will probably risk being noticed more than if you were just right behind them. Ensuring you have a camera with good optical zoom is something you need for mobile surveillance too. You never know when or where the subject will go. My preference is always to keep as much distance as I can between myself and my subject, but that can make getting quality video difficult when they park somewhere. Having a good quality surveillance camera with high optical zoom will allow you to scan parking lots and get video of the subject from a safe distance. I have made several videos regarding requirements for good surveillance cameras, and I have a link below to my preferred PI gear, so check those out for more details. When your subject does stop and go on foot somewhere, you need to ensure you do not park or stop somewhere that can raise suspicion as well. Don't park directly behind them or right next to them. In fact, I prefer to not even follow them down the lane in the parking lot that they go into. And don't put yourself in a choke point when you park. In other words, don't park between them and the front door of the store that they may be going into. Otherwise, they will have to walk right past you. And obviously, if you are following them back to the residence, do not park in front of their house or in close proximity to the house where they will see you when they get out of their car. My preference is to slow down when they get close to home. Let them get into the neighborhood well ahead of me. Then I can pull in slowly and try to grab some video from a good distance away. And then once they are back home and cozy, make sure you pick a good stationary surveillance position and maintain stationary surveillance there. Don't be changing stationary positions all the time. This will get you noticed by the subject and the neighbors pretty darn quickly. And if you get noticed by the neighbors, this jeopardizes everything, as they may be part of the neighborhood watch program, they may know the subject as well, and they may even call the police on you. And nothing brings more attention to you when you are on surveillance than when the police roll up behind you and hit the old red and blues. Another tip while on the follow is to make sure you are watching the road ahead of you at all times. You should be watching for things like heavy traffic, construction zones, major exits, shopping centers, and even changes in the weather if you are on a long distance follow. You need to anticipate all of the what-ifs that may occur. What if my subject goes to the big shopping mall up there in 2 miles? What if my subject gets on the freeway and heads out of town? What if we keep going on and hit that big black cloud in rain or snow several miles ahead? Obviously, we have no crystal ball to look in. We have no idea what the subject will do, and every what-if has about another dozen what-ifs that will come up. But just knowing some of them allows you to formulate some sort of a plan, a course of action for what may happen that may keep those what-ifs from becoming major surprises to you once they become realities. The biggest tip I can give you is to remain patient and focused during mobile surveillance, and don't let your mind get carried away. It is so easy to panic at every move the subject makes and worry about things like, am I burned? Did he notice me? Will I lose her? I recently released this live training video on how to locate stationary or static surveillance positions, so check it out now.